So I'm beyond honored to be standing here to present this year's Tesla Award for Visionary Achievement in Filmmaking Technology to one of my own personal industry heroes, Joe Letteri. Now, Joe first broke into the film industry at Industrial Light and Magic with Star Trek VI, where he was asked to blow up a Klingon moon. Now, how many people can say they did that as their starter job? Since then, Joe has been blowing up industry norms to bring audiences some of the most innovative visual effects in the history of modern cinema. And he's been working with legends like Jim Cameron, Peter Jackson, Steven Spielberg, and empowering all of them to tell their stories. Joe actually played a significant role in the film that got me into the industry, which was Jurassic Park. He was part of the team that convinced Spielberg that dinosaurs could be done even more convincingly digitally than using traditional animatronics. And with that single accomplishment, Joe literally changed my life. I was convinced that I wanted to be a lawyer before seeing his work, and he set me straight on that pretty effing quick. So I got my start in the late 90s at Lucasfilm and vividly remember the day where I was in a theater at ILM and they announced that Joe was leaving the company, the top company in the industry at that time. And they said that he was going to New Zealand to work with Peter Jackson and Weta Digital on Lord of the Rings. Now, I was a gutsy 19-year-old at the time. I couldn't quite understand why everyone was so shocked that he'd be leaving the comfort of California to go to a country that was more renowned for wool production than it was for filmmaking. And cut to 20 years later, though, and after having worked on films like Avatar, Lord of the Rings, Planet of the Apes, you name it in terms of cutting-edge filmmaking, he has amassed 10 Oscar nominations, 4 Academy Award wins, and as of tonight, he has 4 Satellite Awards under his belt. So clearly, his gamble paid off. Not only is Joe super well accomplished himself, but he's earned a great reputation in the industry as an exceptional mentor, and he has been helping superstars in the making to achieve award-winning heights through his own guidance. Now, I can't think of a single Academy Award winner who has done more in terms of technical achievement than Joe Letteri. From Gollum to Caesar to the worlds of Avatar, Joe's work has consistently pushed the boundaries of our medium. So please join me in congratulating Joe Letteri on receiving the International Press Academy's Tesla Award.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. It's really an honor to receive this year's Nikola Tesla Award, and I'd like to thank the members of the International Press Academy. It's an association whose work is dedicated to recognizing new levels of innovation in filmmaking. You know, for almost everyone, Tesla's name stands for innovations that made it what at the time seemed like the future become our everyday reality. So I hope in some way my work has helped others, whether they're other visual effects artists, actors, directors, or even audiences, to imagine the world a little bit differently than when you first walked into the theater. But I could never have imagined or built those worlds or the characters that inhabit them if it weren't for some of the people whose creations changed my own life, my own view of filmmaking, and some of whom have been previous recipients of this award. So let me start by thanking George Lucas, because sitting in a theater when I was in college in May of 1977, watching the opening shot of Star Wars, pretty much gave me the jolt that I needed to start thinking about the world and the world of film in a different way. And as Kevin mentioned, years later, I had the opportunity to join ILM and begin my film career there. And so I'd like to thank Steven Spielberg for trusting what was at the time a pretty unknown group of artists with our new computers to help create the dinosaurs for Jurassic Park. That film sparked my interest in creating not only creatures but characters. I saw the potential of that in film. And so I was excited in 2001 when Peter Jackson offered me the chance to create Gollum, because Gollum was one of my favorite characters from literature, and to be able to do him for the screen was really fantastic. So I have to thank Sir Peter for that. I also have to thank Dame Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, who are Peter's co-writers. Because one thing I've learned about characters is that there's nothing more important than what they say, except for maybe how they say it. And for that, I have to thank Andy Serkis, because Andy is a truly talented actor who took on the role of Gollum and made him an indelible character in the imagination of millions worldwide. I've enjoyed collaborating with Andy over the years. We've got to work together on such characters as Captain Haddock, Caesar from Planet of the Apes, just a variety and a wealth of experience. And working with Andy, I've learned that no matter what our roles as filmmakers, whether we use computers, cameras, or costumes, the most important contribution we can make is to help draw audiences into the emotions of our characters. Because in the end, we make films because we want to see films. And so for that, I especially have to thank John Landau, who's with us tonight, because John took note of all this work and called me and said, "Would you like to read Jim's treatment for Avatar?" And I said, "Yes." and John said, "What do you think?" And I said, "We have to make that movie." And so I also have to thank James Cameron for trusting me with that project. It's something that was so vast and yet so personal, and where innovation drives every aspect of the filmmaking process. And really no more than in the current Avatar sequels, which we're in the middle of working on right now. And finally, one thing that all these filmmakers have in common is their faith not only in me, but in our team at Weta Digital. So I'd have to thank the many artists whose work is to daily blaze new trails into new stories and new characters and worlds yet to be imagined. I wouldn't be receiving this award if it weren't for your constant innovation, your tireless effort, and your heartfelt camaraderie, for which I'm always grateful. Thank you very much.